Hello. So we're recording. Woo! The power of three. Oh, wait. Let's do a recorded vote. Will Joe show up? Joe, will you?
Yes.
You think? I
Yes.
think he will. He usually pops in at some point. We're like, it's Joe. It's like the best. We love you, Joe.
I have faith in him.
I know. All right. So we are diving into, as I was saying before, I'm really stoked. We're diving into negotiations. This is a combination of finding that right job, that whole interview, and negotiating. It's a whole flow. I wish this was taught in school. It's not. We're going into it. So let me do the share screen magic to that one.
Da, da, da,
Da. All right. Putting her in presentation mode. Tips and tricks to get what you want. Dude, at the end of the day, I know right now our biggest concern is like, are there even jobs? Well, honestly, even with the jobs that are available, this is where you can start having that ability to pick and choose because of your strength in that interview. It's all about that interview. So who are people that you would be speaking to in a room that you would guess that you'd be speaking with? Like who would be the people? This is an interaction part. Like,
so you're talking about in it for a clinic job?
Yeah.
So you'd have potentially an office manager, potentially the business owner, depending on how they set up.
Yeah.
Sometimes there'd be another salaried PT as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Not really that magical of a slide. Just wanted to cover that because I was like, I should probably just at least acknowledge it. Here's, oh my God. So I had fun with the color scheme. Anyway, it's green because we're growing right now, like money. Okay. So the big thing is be prepared. And this originally, full disclosure, was a picture of Scar, be prepared, but he did not match my color scheme. So he had to go. But he did look great. And God bless you, you are always in our heart, Scar. So you need to find out what is important to your potential employer. It's not just finding out information. You need to find out their wants and needs. So you need to be interested in the company, not interested in them, not interesting. So interested in them, not interesting. It's not about you. So they always say, do your research. I have to say, do your research. You need to know what is going on in the company right now. You need to talk about the company 3 times the amount you talk about yourself. That's how much knowledge you need to have, because even when they ask questions, you're talking about you, but then you bring it back to the company again, relating to what they do, whatever that you have learned in the conversation, to bring it back so it becomes very not egocentric as us. What's the opposite one? I don't know, them-centric. Sure, that's the word. So you should be racking up stuff left to right all the way up to the day of that interview. You want to know here are questions to ask yourself. What are they working on right now? What do they want to get out of those projects? If you can't find that information, you can ask them. What do they want to get from you? So you can look at their other employees that they have and learn what they have and say, is that a must? Are those the skills? So you could see what they have and maybe find things that you have in common with them to bring it back. Yeah, I saw that of the people who work with this. Is that something that's important to you? The more research you do, the more power you can hold, because you know how to speak their language and be on their level. So say you go there and they have all these people who are active release certified. You could be like, and they're saying, oh, we require, like, oh, that's so funny. I was just looking it up. I already know of the next thing. So I'm very interested in doing that course. They'd be like, great. They're already on board with this big, important thing that we do. You want to continue to research all the way to the last minute, always keep up with what's going on. I mean, I'm going to give a weird example, but when marching on Capitol Hill for APTA, if you're really on top of it, you're looking to see anything they post, even that day, because you could go say, oh, I saw you went to the chicken feed. How was that? That looked really good. And that's just something that just happened to them that day. It's not them having to research and think back on themselves. We and just, or if they posted a picture of their baby, you're like, I saw your picture of your baby, like so cute. Like, how old? How do you do it? Whatever it may be. It's just a way to break that barrier that's automatically going to be there and form just a little bit of a bond. Where you do your research, nothing is off limits. So this should be on your checklist. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, Yelp, their website, LinkedIn, and call people who know people, that whole 7 degrees of separation. I'll say that list again: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, Yelp, website, LinkedIn, and call people you know. I must acknowledge I did not say TikTok. I don't know how you're going to stand out right now as a follower on TikTok because it just shows 12,000 people. How are you going to stand out in your responses with them? It's not really a relationship builder, but it is entertaining as hell and helps kill a lot of time in a day. Oh my God, it's very dangerous. Very entertaining. I love it. Okay, so never, ever, ever, ever rush your negotiation. So you need to be prepared to be in there as long as possible. Don't schedule something afterwards. If you have something scheduled and you see that you're going to miss it. Because as soon as, if you start to force it, they having to finish, they start getting all the power in the negotiation. You want, and when you are doing this interview, you want the person on the phone at the very minimum, not on email. Leave emails the least impersonal. It's a longer process. You can't banter off them. There can't be that whole exchange that you get with people. In person, of course, is always first choice, but sometimes they do happen over the phone if you live in a different state. You need to gather questions before and show that you have done active research. They do know and they appreciate it so much. I definitely got hired quite easily at places just from doing all that research. All right. So, and I will go into the questions a little bit later. I have it in a slightly weird order. All right. So now that's preparation for the company. Now preparing yourself. Preparing you, what you're going to be discussing. You need to know your strengths and weaknesses. Don't say the old thing that you are a workaholic and that's a weakness. That like trick. I used to do that and think I was so brilliant. Like, oh yeah, I'm just a workaholic. Oh yeah, I guess it's a strength too. Like just like truly what your weaknesses are. For me, for instance, I go and they say, what are your weaknesses? And I say, my weakness is definitely my energy, because it can be a lot for people, and I definitely understand that. However, I know it's also a hidden strength too, even though it is a very apparent weakness, because I bring so much positivity in the room. You're going to see other people just bounce off of that. But I do know that is something for people to adjust to at times, and I always have to just kind of go, oh, gotcha, depending on the human. And they'll see that. They see that right off the bat. They're like, yeah, I'm glad you're aware of, and that right there just creates that more of a trust, because they know that I know that they know that I know that I know that, yeah. You need to know your story as either a physical therapy student or as a physical therapist. This is almost like an elevator speech where you just have this so down. You must be clear as you say this. So how did you get into physical therapy school? How did you get into this altogether? What made you choose this career path? And your story, and then for you, what's up, Jeff? Yay! And then your story as a physical therapist for the last 5 to 6 years, if you've been a physical therapist, combine it. So you want to know your history, Jeff, to catch you up. So we're talking about preparing for the job interview, aka negotiations, because that's what that is. For the record, totally side note, I am holding in a fart. Okay, so it's just, she is pushing, and like I'm holding her in. I'll let her out on my husband later. It's love. Okay, so woo, suck that one in. Okay, so I'll repeat that again. So the 3 questions you need to be able to answer just as part of your story. When they say, tell me about yourself, how did you get into physical therapy school? What made you choose this career path? And you want to tell your story from the last 5 to 6 years out. So if you were a student for 3 years, what were you doing before that? And you need to just have those highlights. So I'm going to riff and do my last 5 years. So I am a physical therapist. This is actually, ironically, a career I never wanted to do. And I founded Fairy Tale Physical Therapy, which is where we bring musical theater shows to children in hospitals and teach choreography that's secretly composed of therapeutic exercises. And seeing those kids in hospitals absolutely changed me. And I love helping other people now. And I see how giving is so much better than taking. That being said, I still am a performer, but I'm also a physical therapist, and I specialize working with singers, actors, and dancers. If you don't have them here at your clinic, and then I should know whether or not they have it, I would love to bring them to you. I mean, boom, that's it. Like, you just know everything about me, like a little, like, and it's just a short elevator speech. I probably want to fix it a little bit, what I just made up, but that's how fast it should be, because at the end of the day, what is the idea? We are being interested, not interesting. So we need to bring the conversation back to them. That's why you need to be prepared. If you're spending too much going, and then this, and then that. I had an impromptu, oh my God, this is so funny because this really happened. Recently I was, I thought I was going in for an interview for a podcast, the way I was approached about it. And I said, yeah, sure. You know, of course, I love being the center of attention. And so he brings me in, and we're talking, and he goes, oh, what would you prefer? Do you want to do FaceTime or Zoom? I was like, FaceTime. I was like, it's not like we have to be HIPAA or anything. So we're talking. And then I realized that he thinks we're doing an interview. And I knew what the topic was on. I was like, well, I mean, I could interview him about that. Sure. That sounds great. Angie, what's up? And so literally when we started the interview, I'm not kidding, it ended up being a spectacular interview. But for the first 15 minutes, when I just asked him the first question, I said, tell everyone about yourself. 15 minutes. He was talking about himself. We were even giving information, you know, and then it was just like, ugh. That's why you need it to be short, because people want to know about you, but you need to really be very, very concise about everything that you're talking about when it comes to yourself. So how you get into PT school, what made you choose that career path, and your story of yourself as a physical therapist the last 5 to 6 years out. Angie, to catch up, we're just talking about how you prepare. Be prepared. All right. Then the next thing, to go into more depth on highlighting your five, you can, when you're looking at the past 5 to 6 years out, the way you can itemize it, highlight your 5 biggest experiences. So if you nail it down to just 5, high 5. So nail down 5, whatever that may be. So your journey doing this course, you could bring this up. You know, you could say, Kylie could talk about, oh my God, I can't wait till she hears this back, how she met a boy, you know. Or her reps. Joe could talk about his Italian food that he loves so much that he makes a point not to eat too much. Jeff could talk about how he's known to be one of the best note takers in any course, and people steal his notes and don't pay him, and it's terrible. It's just terrible. No, I joke, but so, and you have those as like prepared stories and part of your thing, but also prepared stories as samples to relate with questions that they have. Just how we did with sales, when somebody had these misconstrued beliefs, thinking, oh, I could never afford something like that. And you go, I had somebody with that same difficulty. Here's their story. It's that kind of thing. So you have from your own life 5 different stories as part of your elevator speech. Also, they could be used as backup. Make sense? Awesome. All right. Now going into what to negotiate. Obviously money. This is why we put a heart around it, because we want money. Is it bad to want money? Absolutely not, dude. Seriously, I went in from performing to physical therapy. For me to say I did not go into physical therapy to make more money would be an absolute lie. And performers make zero money. Anyway, so you need to know the difference when you're going in to negotiate between what you like, what you want, and what you need. You must know the difference between those 3: like versus want versus need. So there are other things that you can negotiate that are intangibles that are not money related, but it can end up feeding back and essentially even out for you. So it could be your health insurance. You can say, hey, can you cover certain medications that you know add up in your life? You're like, hey, can you cover that? You could negotiate hours. Say, hey, I want to work. You could think about that lifestyle. Like, I would want to work this kind of thing. Or once you learn what their schedule's like, and say, this is what I would negotiate. But you have to be realistic. It's not what you like. It's the difference between what you like, want, need. So you have to differentiate, because it does have a hierarchy. The number of patients you see in an hour, negotiate it. A lot of places lie and tell you don't see that many in an hour, and then they do. But just saying, you could put that in writing. You could really push to put that in writing. Paying for you to visit dance studios. So you're saying, hey, I want to go and do this. You could be providing, quote, free talks to these dance studios, which could attract patients to their clinic. But while all along, they're actually paying you for your time going there. Paid to market and network with dance studios, plane flights or hotels for CEU courses. A lot of times they say they cover certain CEUs, a certain amount. You can honestly highlight a specific CEU course that you know is more money than what they offer, or the fact that you want to take two, and say, I'd like to negotiate that in. If you can't pay me, or I'd like to do that. So for me, active release technique is a very, very expensive thing that I am certified in. And I mean, yeah, that would be something I would put in right away. I'd be like, that saved me $800 a year. And then also conferences you want to attend could be another thing to put in there. Days off that you want, guaranteed. Christmas could be in there. Thanksgiving could be in there. So these are all other things that you can negotiate that may not be a financial thing, but bring like meaning to your life. Once again, differentiate. Know this at the top of your head: like, want, need. Even writing this out for yourself, so you're just aware of where they're actually placed. All right. So in the meeting, oh man, gaseous Maximus. It's Veganase. Veganase makes me gassy. Anyway, so the pre-written questions that you have on hand, you must ask them. Literally, you guys, I'm not kidding. When I went in and I interviewed for, oh God, what's the place? Physio Arts. Great place. It really sucks they closed. And I literally had a printed sheet of questions, and I just pulled it and put it on the desk because I was afraid to forget to refer to them. I want to make sure. She was impressed by that. I wasn't trying to impress her. I just didn't want to hold it because my hands would be shaking. By the way, put your hands on your lap, hands on the desk. Quick way to just calm your hands down, or crotch, armpit. Well, don't do armpits because that looks angry, or crotch. Those are ways to like shut your hands up. Okay, so smile. You want to do a firm handshake and eye contact. This is a preview for them on how you are going to be communicating with their patients. They're getting that first impression. Hi, nice to meet you. Good to meet you. Like, that is a thing. Don't think, oh, I'm going to be timid and humble. Like, how are you going to be with their patients? That is what they're interpreting right away. Are you going to make them money? Are you going to bring patients back from that? It tells everything. So I'm going to now go down a long list of potential questions to ask. These are just generic ones without doing research. You will get more as you do research. And those are the ones where you dive in more are great. They're great, great, great. All right. So is there potential to growth within 12 months? So when you're asking this, the job with the biggest potential for growth is what you want. Guys, burnout is a huge thing. You want potential for growth. You don't want to just be sitting there like, okay, this is what I do every day. This is so fun. Like, I'm burned out. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, don't stutter like I just did. It's a red flag. You want to just speak, just say, don't apologize. As women in general, sorry, Jeff, you're not blessed. So as women in general, we tend to stutter and lean towards the shy thing. That's not a way. Don't worry about using that technique to be polite. It's okay to be like, hey, take that stand, take that seat and everything. You'll still be you, but it's going to feel a little different for you because you're going to be like, I'm just asking questions now. And you don't need to say anything more after you ask every single question. It's not, is there potential for growth within the first 12 months? Because I was wondering, because I wanted to know because, because you don't need to explain. Just ask the question, you wait. Is there any mentorship available? What would mentoring be for you? Like you? What would it consist of? What would this mentorship consist of? So is it clinically where you get that clinical membership? Is it ownership membership? Is it credentials membership, taking to another level? Is it understanding management more? Is it insurance and billing? They should know this. This was one of my red flags at several of my interviews, because they didn't. Because there's a lot of places that say they provide mentorship as a way to pay you less, and they don't provide shit. So you must ask these questions. It's just true. They're like, we provide mentorship. You get 20,000 cut off your pay because of that. Like, oh my God, it's bullshit. Okay. So what other services besides normal physical therapy do they offer? Do they offer fitness programs, wellness programs, some sort of outreach programs? This is continuing treatment. When people's patients are done, they're not done. They're still humans who are going to get injured again. And honestly, most of them don't follow their exercise program. They get bored with the same exercises they left you with, so for the place to be providing that, they should. And if they don't, that's an opportunity for you. That's an opportunity for you, something you can bring to the table to add value, to increase your reimbursement. And honestly, keep your passion going. Keep your passion going with these people, if that's what you like to do. The examples of programs: post-rehab programs, online programs. Ooh, that's key. So many places do not have that right now. And you can say, if they didn't have that, would you consider having any of these? Because I know how to do it. I would love to do this. You have to really mean it. Know between what you would like, want, and need. Must differentiate. You might like to do it, but do you really want to do it? Like, I would like to think that I'm a pretty princess that's, timid and, but I'm not. I fart, so it's fine. Okay. What do you base raises and promotions on? Don't be afraid of this question. As soon as we talk about money, it's like, we want to hide. It could be from time with the company. That's actually not an answer. If they're saying, oh, after 5 years, you don't want somebody who's saying, if it's 5 years, is it 6 years? Like time, if they're basing off time, that's just heinous. They don't really have something in place. Productivity is one. Productivity is another word used for mill. So So when you hear the word productivity, they're a mill. Oh, it's by your productivity. Cool. It's up to you if you want to do that, but it is a good reason to run. Reputation of the clinician. So is it from you getting OCS? That's why you get a raise. Oh, by the way, newsflash, as much as it's wonderful to get your OCS, SES, all those things, that does not guarantee you a raise. Overall clinic finances. So you can ask how to understand the clinic finances better. So what I mean by that is, it depends how our clinic is doing, what money we're making at that time. So you can ask more questions about that, to dive, to learn more what that means. Do they have a certain goal at this time that they're trying to reach? That's what it's contingent on. Have they done that with somebody else where they were able to give them a raise? See how I'm just bouncing off this one question? It's okay to ask these questions. Or even you get paid from testimonials from patients about you. And just by those reviews, good reviews, is that what helps increase? Man, if that was the case and I was working somewhere, I would give every single patient Google, and I'd be like, yo, dude, here's what's happening. I got 5 lollipops, each a different flavor. Now, if you do it, you get 1. Like, seriously, I'd be all in getting those testimonials. Okay. Is there any potential for ownership as a physical therapist? Guess what? You might be interested in this. You don't know this right now, so you need to ask. You need to tell them that it tells them that somebody might be like you, might be interested in ownership. And it also means that you will be more invested in their company and very likely have the lowest cancellation rates as a physical therapist. So somebody who's interested in being an owner is like in. Um, and then and then ask, has this happened before? Has anybody else and has anyone else taken over and become an owner as well from pursuing this? Or are you like the first one? And then to tack onto that, with this question, do they have a track for management or ownership? Do they have that set up? Or are they just literally making this up right now? I mean, it can be shocking when they don't have that. I get it if they're new. Somebody asked me that, I was feeling like, I don't freaking know. But I'd be totally down for someone to go for ownership. Like, hell yeah, that's great. I'm only treating a certain number of patients, but you go on with your bad self. So it just, I don't know where my brain was going. All right, next question. What is your vision for the company? Oh my gosh, I got a complete blank from that when I, between this group, us and this group, no, I'm not gonna say the name of the clinic because yeah, but they didn't know. And I was really shocked. They should have a vision. That's a real red flag. And that place that I interviewed for where they didn't have that vision, they closed. You got to have vision. Like, what kind of future? If you don't have vision, then what are you fighting for? If you don't have vision, how are you going to, like that, that's a very stagnant, like not going anywhere thing. There's always new things going on. If you don't have a vision, you would be the first people stuck because you have not created any telehealth platforms or any online programs, and you'd be screwed during this time. You got to always have vision. You always got to be growing. What is your marketing approach? Oh, this is a huge way for you to negotiate because this has to do with social media. So many places don't understand this. This can be a little extra job you do on the side, and it increases your value and negotiating power. So social media, blogs, MD referral, just and it's good to know this. That means if it's all just MD referral, then they're doing, you got to find out what that is. Is that going to be part of your job? I have some physical, that MD referral was a thing, and then like gift baskets to MDs. They said it was so awkward and like because and part of their job, and they didn't get paid during that time. Did I mention that? And they would do that on their off hours, but it was part of the requirement. They did not get paid for that. That's huge. And if they do rely on MD referral only, so you know, that means you have less autonomy as a practitioner. You're very likely getting orders and having to do exactly the clamshells, which is just not fun. Word of mouth is great. Word of mouth takes a lot of work to get to, and you have to keep promoting that word of mouth, but that's good. All right, next question. What do you do for patients when their insurance expires? Ooh, you guys, this is such a big question for dancers, for musical theater performers with Actors Equity. I have one patient right now. She's in between her health insurance from her job. She got a gig and she was like, all right, I'm leaving the job. I'm losing my insurance, crap. And she has, I forget when it starts up, but it's her, what's up, Joe? Her insurance is coming back up, I think in a month, and she'll be covered again. She had a space of like no treatments. What I did during that time is I provided her an online wellness program, and I'm like, here, do this. And then also we had videos of us together, and I put that together in a private YouTube little folder for her. And I was like, here, so even though I'm not doing visits with her, I have something, sometimes they just go, oh, when they expire, oh, we can't see them. You got to find out, does that align with your values, or is that going to piss you off? What is your average copay of your visits? $50, $40. What are these people paying when they come in? That right there is access. You can get an idea of the patients that could be coming in. If it's like $20, you can see more of a variety of people. If it's like 50, 60, like, and so on, it just gives you an idea. And then what are the rates per visit? So this is a question for insurance. So what rates, like for managed care, auto care, Medicare? If you're going to ask this question, definitely review insurance that I taught you, so that way you're not like, but just rates. oh goodness, like what is their copay for every single insurance? Like what are they doing for that? Like, and what are their rates? What are, do you see more Medicare patients? Do you see more managed care patients? Do you see workers comp? I'm going to mute. Do you see workers comp? Like this gives you also an idea of the patients they see. What percent of the expected amount bill is the company getting paid on? I'll say that again. What percent of the expected amount billed is the company getting paid on? When I gave the insurance lecture, I said in that insurance lecture that the amount that is, the amount that they're actually getting paid on, that's telling how much they can pay you. So this is actually reflective and helpful for you to understand what they can afford with you, or if they're holding back, honestly. So the do you guys remember this? So this is where, say they charge $100, but they expect only a actually getting $50 from the company, and then $20 from the patient. So then there's $30 that's not paid of that, and that's the write-off. Do you guys remember this? It's taking us back. So, but basically just saying, if I'm going to go back and see, because I'm getting a head shake from Katie. So I'm like, I'm going to explain this because it is valuable. So somebody pays $100. A patient comes in, their copay is $20. The insurance is contracted and agrees to only pay $50. So 50 plus 20 is 70. 70 minus 100. There, or 100 minus 70 is 30. You have that $30 floating. That is $30 that you will never ever see, but you can use as a write-off. The money that the company is getting paid on is that $50. They're making not 50, sorry, $70. I'm like mixing up my math right now. The $70 that you see, not the $100. They're asking for 100, they're only getting 70. Make sense? Just get you an idea. Sometimes it's like only 20. It just helps you better understand per patient what they're actually making. What are your self-pay rates? Are they competitive? This is a cash PT out of network question. Especially if there are other people, you will run into this with a lot of performers. They don't have health insurance. So you need to know this answer. It comes up way too much. Do you have other options for patients that don't have health insurance but can't afford private pay rates? Ask them. Find out, what do you do? Can you go and do maybe even group, like lectures to at least educate them, and you could be covered and paid on that. That really goes into that kind of outreach thing. We have to be accessible. This is part of our goal. This is part of our desires, especially as dance specialists. So, there should be a plan in place. And then if they don't have that, you could even ask, would you be interested in me coming up and finding a way, an alternative, or are you kind of stuck on that? And you could bring up your audience because they are a concern of yours. This is why. How long does it take for your insurances to pay your, my God. Yeah. How long does it take for insurances to pay your facility? This is huge. Insurances suck. I'm dealing with one insurance right now, still has not reimbursed my patient, and I'm still fighting for her to get reimbursement. It has been 5 months. She still hasn't been reimbursed. So, and that's just with one patient and one health insurance. And oh my God, it's the only person I'm helping out with health insurance. I will never do it again. For instance, Blue Cross Blue Shield takes 2 weeks. This is going back to the insurance thing, takes 2 weeks to reimburse. But if it takes 6 to 12 weeks, it means that the billing is not consistent, and it could affect your pay. They should know when they're getting that reimbursement. They should have a system down. They should have a front desk person, especially if they're hiring. They should have a system down. All right, so those are your sample questions. Just a few. There are many, many more that you can ask. These are very much the business perspective for you, but they are each very, 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 very valuable. You should never, ever feel embarrassed. At the end of the day, you do have these questions, but your goal is really to ask these to listen. You want them at the very beginning when you come in, if you can. Sometimes they don't, but try to flip it back around to them. Just how we did with that sales conversation, you're selling them on you. It's kind of not that different. You want them to speak for 5 straight minutes at least. If you can just approach it like that, that's my goal. Like, think when they ask you a question, answer and be like, and then flip it as fast as you can. Of course, answering, but fast as you can, back to them. Back to them. You want them to be doing more of the talking. You need to understand the dynamic between you and the individual you are with. It is different depending on which person you are in front of. So you need to just be very sensitive to that and figure it out. You have to be decisive. You have to be firm. You have to be confident. Even if you don't fully identify with those words, decisive, firm, and confident, that is there in you, and you need to force her out. You need to force her out. Have you ever had those days or those times when you have absolutely no energy left, and then you have to go do something that requires energy? And I've done this in shows way too many times. And you're just like this. You're sitting there like in your PJs like this. Okay, let's do this. And you do it. You turn it on because you have to. You have to. Everything, you have to turn it on, and then you're done, and you're just back here again. You're back to where you really are at. Maybe it's my hat trick, I don't know, but it's a thing. If you don't have that in you, that's what you're going to do. So you need to ask yourself throughout this whole thing. Don't say this out loud. Oh my God, I can't imagine if you guys said this aloud. It'd be horrible and amazing and funny. Can I walk away? Can I walk away? That was my battle when I interviewed with Physio Arts, because I thought, how dare I walk away? It's Physio Arts. They're incredible. But you have to ask yourself, can I walk away? That's a reasonable question. This is your life, not anyone's life. And just remember, through all this, there is an exchange in everything you are discussing. It's not that you're asking, it's this back and forth. Of course, we want it to be very, very clearly more on their side, but it is an exchange. You also need to ask yourself, what is valuable to them as you are talking with them? You've done all this research. You need to keep doing that in your head the whole time, just as you do with the patient, just by reading them, seeing how their demeanor, you're like taking in every little minuscule thing they do. It's the same thing with them. What is valuable to them? And when you learn what's valuable to them, it gives you more negotiating power, because you can speak on their level and just reflect on it. Bring in, if they're talking about kids, somehow connect whatever the heck you're talking about to that, because importance is family, and they'd be, yeah, family is important. Whatever you find out is their yin and yang. So let me give you an example. What was I thinking when I wrote this? Okay. Oh, yes. So for instance, say they say this, and this, you'll hear this. We can't go over this amount per week when paying you, or this amount per year when paying you. This is all we can afford when we pay you. Respond with, I understand that is your limit. Here is what I am concerned, where I am concerned. And you can see if they can help cover your costs in other ways. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that. So everything, it's that exchange. It's really listening to what they're saying. You're not denying and going, oh, that's BS. You're like, okay. And then you and you can bring in paying for gas to travel to and from work, paying for your Metro card. Those are other things. Like, this is where I'm concerned. And they could end up even evening out costs for you. You're like, I'm good now, technically, getting the same amount that I would need to get by and live the happy life I want to live. So speaking with options, you have to always think, what is better for you? Paying, this is what you're saying to them. What is better for you? Pay me more, or the company does this. So, okay, so for me right now, I need this. So what is better for you? I'm going to keep going to the pay me more, because that's going to be the biggest thing that comes up. Pay me more, or cover my bill that I for my HIPAA compliant cell phone, where I can text my patients. So it's so many things, it's endless. What is better for you? Pay me more or cover enough money for you to take certain continuing education courses. And I'm talking about the expensive good ones, not the little like the good ones. Then this takes us to the art of silence. Say what you want and then zip it. Everything you say does not need an endless explanation. Every question you ask doesn't need more things said. Say it and let that pause happen. Let them respond to you. Just wait. Just wait. And that even says when you say the amount of money that you want. I actually, I can't work less than 90,000 a year. I did get paid 100,000 a year at my last job, but I'm definitely willing to do 90,000 because I love that you do. Wait. That's it. Just wait. If you are at the end of negotiation, guess what? You can still negotiate. So everything could be set and you can say, oh, look, this looks all great, but I'm having difficulty covering my traveling on these specific days. Can we add this in? And these things might linger in your head because you need to be aware of your situation. You need to know that difference between what you like, what you want, and what you need. So you should already know these things. So you could be like, okay. And so you're thinking in your head because you've had this discussion or brainstorm, you know what are things that you definitely need. And you're going like, okay, on these days, I'm going to be driving so much more. I understand that you are not covering fully, but on these days, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough for me financially because it really is a lot more driving because you're coming from who knows where. All right. Whew, that slide was everything after the meeting. After the meeting, you need to keep track of everything that you discussed. So if you're on the phone with them doing the meeting interview, hi Kitty, you need to write down everything that is being said. Keep track of it. Keep track. You can even type it as you go. Be careful. You don't want them to hear click, 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 click. Oh, nothing. You're not hearing anything. And then if it was in person, as soon as don't go and call somebody else. Get in your car, get on the subway, wherever you're going, with your mask on and protected equipment, and write down everything. Right? Do that. Like that is your first thing. Write down everything from that negotiation. Everything. Tips and tricks when I get to it. I love these slides. This is beautiful. This one didn't have green. I know green was my theme. It's okay. It just was a good picture, so we called it a day. If you don't ask, the answer will always be no. I'm going to say that again. If you don't ask, the answer will always be no. So ask. Next one. The only winner at the end of the negotiation should be the product, not you. This is about physical therapy service, providing the best rehabilitation and everything. It's not about you. It's not about the person who's interviewing you. It's the product. Yes, with that product is you not being burnt out. Yes, with that product is you being happy. But at the end of the day, it's about the product. And at the end of the day, make sure you are practical, not emotional. Do not get your feelings hurt at all in this process. It's not personal. You are both trying to figure out what can work for each of you in order to have the best and ultimate work experience and production of physical therapy. I remember one time I was at working PRN at this place. And oh my gosh, I've really been told many people this story. This was the last place I worked PRN. And I was wanting to leave. And I was going, oh, I guess I should. And it's so funny because I really wasn't working there that often at all. I mean, we're talking like every other month, like really not often, but it was like that as a practice owner, it's like that, like, oh, I'm holding on to you kind of thing. And I was in there and they wanted me to sign this paperwork that said I would not take any patients that they had. And it wasn't exactly a non-compete, but it'd be like but it'd be for a year. Okay, like I had to travel 2 hours to get to this place. But after working there for a while, even though they had mostly just Medicare patients at this one particular clinic, um, I knew they had no one who knew performers, like none. If a performer came in there, they'd be screwed, and this place would keep them. And so I told them, I said, actually, I really don't want to sign this. I wasn't being mean. I wasn't being rude. And I said, to them, I was very upfront. I said, I'm totally fine if I can't work here. I said, I will not be offended. I was like, but this, I don't think this works for me. And they're like, oh, I came back again like a few weeks later or something, and they called me in the office. I was like, oh my God, I'm in trouble, and oh my God, it was the owner. It was such a bad, I was like, whoa, it was the owner, the manager, and another guy, like all the like 5 top people in this room. And I wasn't nervous or anything. I more was just like, what? Because they didn't need to keep me. Like they didn't need to, I mean, okay, this place did like me. I will say that they had asked me to come on at least part-time or full-time a couple times. The patients loved me, even though I was like, I always joke that I was a substitute teacher, and I would like walk in the room and be like, who's healing today? Like every time I came in. So I get, I mean, and I did enjoy them, it was nice, but oh my God, they worked, it was a mill. It was a mill. So when I went in for this discussion, bullying happens, and it doesn't have to necessarily be in words, but when you have all the top people in a room with you, speaking their mind, and you're standing your ground, there's still bullying that happens. I ended up agreeing to sign this paper, and they agreed, but it wasn't in the paperwork. And Joe, Katie, you guys know, if it's not a paperwork, it doesn't exist. And they said, oh, if we never get patients like that, but if they do, we'll give them to you. I said, okay. I said, that's why I was concerned. I was like, and I said to them, I was like, I don't accept Medicare. I was like, I'm really not a compete. And he was like, I'm afraid of you taking the patients. I was like, I'm not going to. I was like, I'm just thinking for the patient. I was like, that's what I'm concerned about. That's why I don't want to sign it. I ended up signing it. I was in a room with 3 guys staring at me, 3 against 1. That's bullying. It's bullshit. Happens though. And even though I'm a strong individual, that's what happened. And I was booked out like for later in the year to come, and they called me like the next day saying, oh, we don't need you anymore, we actually found another place. It was like a lie. And I was like, I told you I would leave. I told you I would leave. But they got me to sign this asinine paperwork because they were so afraid about losing their patients. I mean, I was just like, what the hell? Oh my God, I don't take Medicare. Literally 99% of their patients are Medicare. Okay. Like I was not a threat. I live 2 hours away. I was just speaking beyond myself. Anyway, so my point being is that I was not emotional on this at all. I was very practical. I knew this wasn't personal. I wasn't trying to go after anything. They took it personally. They went for the kill. I didn't care. And I was honestly like grateful, because it really was at the end of the day a place that I needed to leave. I truly did. But it was snaky, and you're going to deal with a lot of things, but it helps. The whole point is it helps so much to understand it's not personal. This is just business. It's just business. Don't take it to heart at all. A great thing to do is practice on friends and get feedback. Literally, I would combine this with your sales conversations. Best time, I mean, we have time for this. Any family gathering is such a good time to do negotiation practice, like big time. Like you could literally go and talk to somebody in your family who owns a business, anybody in your family, and just start asking them questions about their business. How do you hire people? Like, what is your reimbursement rate? And if they ask what you're doing, you can say, I'm literally practicing negotiating. Let's keep going. Like that's it, and I did that with my sales practice. And that alone, you start getting used to saying numbers. That's a big deal. You have to be comfortable saying numbers that are not like, oh, I'll take 90,000, like 90,000. Like, no, 90,000 works for me. You know, every single place I went to, I said, I will not take, I forget what it was, under a certain amount, because I was hourly, because I was PRN, and I wasn't going to get paid the same amount of the people who were working there. I was going to get paid more. And I did every time. I got more than the average new grad rate. It was amazing. So really, really just practice makes perfect. This is the resource, Getting to Yes. It is a good book about negotiations. I recommend it. Do you need to read it? Beyond this? No, I think this is honestly good enough. You just need to practice. And then the end. Now, here's where we're doing some good, crazy stuff. I'm so excited. Okay, so we are now going to start doing research. All right, so I want everybody, you're going to go to, am I still sharing my screen? I am, good. I don't want to go to ClickFunnels, but I'm on ClickFunnels. Everybody, this is ClickFunnels. Okay, so where is my thing? Sample research. I just need to do this. Okay, so I'll show you where my brain is so you guys can see, because this looks really, really weird. But this is my sample research paper, which honestly, I'm not going to share it because it's crap, guys. It's crap. I threw this together so you guys can have an idea. I am moving to Pittsburgh. I am moving to Pittsburgh with my husband. I am going to have to start a whole new network there. I actually know quite a few people there. My husband knows a ton of theater people. So these are the names of the people he personally knows. So I wrote and created this really quick thing. I don't remember where Jerry Ross is from, so I've just asked my husband. I think he's part of, this is a performing arts high school. I think he's part of that. And so I just took these names. I was like, okay, cool. This is where they are. And I was like, ooh, this is what I'm going to use as my sample when we do this. I want you guys, please, at the same time, if you have another computer, if you have a phone or something, I want you to literally open up a Word document, write this down on a piece of paper, because you are going to right now research a dance studio or a clinic that you want to work with or work at. We're going to do this in real time right now. This is super, super valuable. We're going to go off that checklist, doing Google, doing Facebook, all those things that I list off. We're going to do it now so we can just get an idea of what that's like. Okay. So first thing, I just want you to choose anywhere. So Jeff, what's a place for you that you want to just look up? You're like, okay, I'll look up this place.
Like a clinic then?
Yeah.
In Salt Lake City? I mean, Hand and Ortho is the place I interned at last summer.
Great. Do you want to do them?
Sure.
Or do you have another place that you'd rather work at that you've always like in a different state? I don't care. Like,
I don't have any like strong ties to any clinic in particular.
You're like,
so.
I'm good. Cool. So we'll do the place that you interned at. Okay, that's yours. What about you, Stephanie?
I was thinking about kind of like applying this to potentially like future, internships, because I'm supposed to be interviewing for those this month or next month. So I was gonna do the Ohio State one that I already sent my resume and stuff to.
Perfect. I love that. I love that. I already know yours, Katie, because we were talking before. Joe, if you're here, do you have a place that you want to research, or not really? That like a dance studio or anything that you want to research during this time with us?
Like to become attending therapist for Paul Taylor Dance and get them to move away from that one guy they've had for the last 30 years.
That's great. So you're looking at Paul Taylor Dance. What about you, Angie?
There's my local dance studio that like I danced at when I was a kid. I want to get in there.
All right. Okay, cool. All right. So everybody, I want you now first to go to their website. Okay. So I'm going to, mine's Lonzy Academy of Dance. I've never heard of this place before. So do this yourself. I'm just going to be talking out loud on things that I'm seeing on here, things that you can be looking at. So the first thing you can do when you go to these places, if it's a dance studio, you want to see their dance schedule. You want to know how often their highest level is training. So you can go from there. If they have a blog of some kind and you're at a, looking at a, So that's dance studio. What is that thing called? A clinic. If you're looking at a clinic, oh my God, that's the word. So if they have a blog, look at their blog, look at things that they're focusing on, look at pictures of patients that they have, take notes. If you're seeing geriatric, take notes of the different ages, like start doing that now. So for me, I already know this because I actually looked at it and have crap on this blog. It doesn't say anything. Yeah. And like you can note on their website, is it updated? You know, is it not? That could be a way, that the service that you even provide for them when you're like, oh, I could actually help them out with that. Or you see that they stopped on their blog. I actually would love to blog with them. You can find the owners, the name of the owners. You can take a big thing that you can really find too is when you go on there is seeing who works there and getting the names of every single person, you know, and seeing what they have in common, what they don't have in common. But if you can find common threads to them, maybe they all went to the same school, who knows? And you can even think as you're looking at this, like, what are things that I have in common with them? And those are the things you highlighted. For instance, I just saw that Christina Lanzi John, she did the Nutcracker, and she writes out all these little parts that she did in Nutcracker. I grew up doing the Nutcracker. Like, that to me is like home. That is a great point of conversation that I would definitely bring up with her. This is funny. She's married to a man named Mark and they have a son named Mark. I mean, okay. Anybody stuck on finding info? Or you guys doing okay?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm just going through the website, but can you just update me real quick? What am I looking for now?
Anything. You're taking a bunch of notes to learn about this company, learn
Oh,
who's
okay.
there, who the head people. Yeah, all those notes that you would just to be on top of it for when you'd interview there.
Got it all.
Well, I just found out that their website has not been updated in a while because the girl who I know who currently teaches there is not in here as an educator. So I don't know which teachers are still currently at this place because she's not on here. But that's good to know. That's weird.
Jenna,
Yeah.
I may need a private tutoring to really become versed in dance language because I'm just going through the website here and it's really dance centric. I mean,
What are they saying? Read me something.
what's that?
Read me what it says. Just anything.
Well, the Taylor School is just they teach ballet, they teach yoga, they teach Graham based classes, Larry Kagwin style classes, Doug Verone style classes. What does this all mean? These are particular
Those are
styles.
just names of people with different modern dance styles.
Okay.
That's how I would look at it because it's known for modern dance. That will be my assumption. And for when you see those names, what you can also do is take those names out and Google them separately as a way to define it. Because even I don't know all those names, but apparently they're new, bigger, up and coming. I just know the old school people. So I would just do that, and that's how you would know. So you're not. I don't think it's just identifying and going, oh, okay. And just take those
Yeah.
out and Google them. Does that help?
Yeah, I mean the classes are held every day for like almost an hour and a half. That's it. So I'm just curious to know how would this be advantageous? It's not like it's a clinic open all day.
So for you with a place like, well, it's not Alvin Ailey, Paul Taylor. With Paul Taylor, because you're looking at the company, right? You would need to know from there to see if it shows a company schedule of any kind.
See,
You would need to know, let's see, with those different styles, it's good to understand and be aware of what those styles are. If they're the hot new thing, how long they've been in existence for, if that's something that makes them stand apart. So if you're in an interview and they say those names, you're not like, oh, who's that? Because we're supposed to know everything about them. So for you to know those teachers, like that style and what they're referring to in general, you don't have to like know every step for the modern dance, but just to know, you'd be good. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Sure. Thank you.
Welcome. What do you guys think? 5 more minutes on here? Or do you want more? Okay, 5. Let's do 5. 5 to push us to get more info. Because it's boring. Doing research is boring. Where was I? All right, let's move into a new platform. So wherever you are at, it's okay. You can come back to it. So we're now going to go to Facebook. They're not on Facebook. That's weird. But you're going to go to Facebook. So you can literally Google. That's one way, or you just go to Facebook. Like here. What am I doing? Lonzy. Saved. There we go. Lonzy Academy of Dance. Yes.
Dana, do you know Tiffany Maruli? You're a mutual friend with her on Facebook, which doesn't really mean much, but
Which one on Cantor?
yes.
Yes, I do.
She's my contact at Ohio State.
Oh, that's awesome.
Um,
Very cool. Yeah, I whore myself out on Facebook friending and everything. So
that's great. I'm sure she's in like all the dance groups and everything. So
oh, that's awesome. I don't know how. Probably because dance PT then for her. Definitely always like to increase that network. So things you can see here, you can see what your clinic is doing, what the dance studio is doing at this time. Are they providing online stuff? What are they doing to stay open? You can already get to know their actions just from seeing what is happening. Or if it's not happening, you can see how often they're doing it and if that is of interest to them to keep growing. So if you're like, oh, okay, I see this is something that they're trying to bring in that money, treat patients, figuring out what to provide during this time. If they're still open, that might be a nice thing for you to see or be a red flag for you right now, depending on their location. A lot of stuff. I went on this earlier today and like there was a video here and I went, oh my God, this is so cute. So what I did is I shared it. It was a beautiful video where the owners of the studio, all their dancers drove by while particularly with their parents because they're so young, drove by with like little signs saying hello during this time. And it was so sweet. It got me to tear up. So I shared it. It also is a nice little tip for them to be like, oh, who's this person that shared it? A little way from them for my name to just pop for a second. Oh wow, they're good. Look at my gum. Look at these Gumby dancers. It's ridiculous. I never grew up in competition dance. It's bad to say, but I'm not a fan of it. Oh, and if there are videos, you can see their level of skill. You can see, like I can see from here, her ballet technique. I don't know who that is. Just little things to give you insight. All right, so from here, now go to YouTube. YouTube can be such a good resource because you get to see even the owners sometimes on video talking, other workers there talking, whatever, what have you. All right, so like for this, I already did this sneak peek thing earlier today to just kind of essentially practice this before I did this with you. And I got to watch all these videos to see they actually have high level skill in both tap, contemporary, massive Gumbies from this studio, which I was just going, okay, like they're high level dancers, even though they're young and they're winning awards for things. So just they're elite, not the, take dance a couple times a week, you know, which is fine. That's great too, but just to know. And also for like this, little things that you can always take note in. I see that they were in StarQuest, they were in Radix. These are different companies that put on dance competitions. That could be for, you could be looking up a clinic and see what, not competition, conferences they go to and take note of those things. That might be something they're very likely to cover for you, if that's a thing that you're interested in. But for these, like seeing StarQuest, Radix, all this, I can write these down and look them up and keep up with those schedules. So then I know also when they're probably going to be rehearsing a lot more and therefore have an increased level of injury and a good time to check in as well. I also found in my research, if this person is still there, one of their teachers is also a physical therapist. Damn it! That's okay. If they got one, that's great. All right. And from there, because I don't really think you can search so well on the computer, go to your phone for Instagram. I love Instagram for being less obtrusive when interacting with anyone new, sharing
Absolutely.
all that stuff, liking. Facebook is a very good way to get personal and get to know someone more, kind of how I did with you guys. Like it's magic. Oh, okay. Oh, I need to follow them. Okay, they don't keep up with it that much. You know, so something as simple as like I mean, these are just like habits as you guys learned with, can you see me? I don't know if you can. Oh, right. I just can't see me. Yeah, I don't care about seeing me. Okay. So right here, I can just take, as you guys know, I can take this and just literally just doing that whole liking thing, go to share it. And then when I add the post, I can tag them and say, at Lonzy Dance, there we go, they're tagged. Oh, I need to see that better. You know, I can make it whatever color I want, boom, 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 and then write something meaningful. Can't, they don't even know me, can't wait to see you open back up again. Oop. You know, so it's just like an absolute stranger that's like supporting them, you know, but boom. And I'm just sharing it to my stories. It's in line with my message because I'm promoting, you know, always, you know, performing arts. And that right there is just a way to, you know, promote and get in their eyes. And that whole idea of like, the more you give, they're over time, you get in their good graces. But they already have PT at this place, so I don't know how much longer I'm going to spend on them.
When do you choose to share something to a story instead of your feed? Because I'm just not really familiar with stories that much.
The stories, you can take a picture of it and then share and tag them if it's not something you can share. But like if I go, they don't have a story going on, they're not active. Let me go to Lindsay. Lindsay's somebody who teaches there. So, oh yeah, that's not happening. So I'm put my thumb on here to make it stop moving, and then I just take a screenshot of it and then tag it. Or you can.
But when do you choose to share as a story?
Oh, I just took it off of their feed, their like one of their regular posts. So I just like took a post and like clicked the arrow. You know this, right? The arrow.
Right. Yeah. But my question is, when do you choose to make something a story versus your feed?
Oh, when sharing other people's stuff, or just in general for Instagram?
In general.
Oh, that's a bigger question. That's Instagram stuff. I actually have, I can't, let's just say there's going to be free stuff coming your way regarding Instagram and teaching. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to love it. You'll be happy.
Okay.
But also happy to get on the phone with you. We talk, and I'll just show you. But that's that really is all about just choosing one particular platform. Oh yeah. We need to go on to another platform. Go to LinkedIn. They may or may not be on there in .com. I don't even know if I know my login. I think Safari will remember me. Can you guys see my Safari or no? You probably can't. Let me do it. Oh my gosh, why move? She's okay. Okay. Safari share. So LinkedIn, they may have past productions. Who knows if they're on there? They may or may not be on there. Is anybody having success finding their thing on LinkedIn?
I can
I've
find
gotten myself.
Wait,
duet.
that was a duet. I don't know who. Go for it, Stephanie.
I can find like the medical center that they work in, but there's not like a performing arts medicine page
Then you know
anywhere.
they're not present on there. You know they're
like
not
on
present on
Facebook, LinkedIn, like nothing.
Take note of where they're not present because those are opportunities. Were they on Instagram?
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then I can't even find the original like place on their website where it said like clinical rotation. That's what I was doing honestly the first half of this whole thing was trying to find out again. I can't find like where I originally found them. I found their fellowship thing, but I'm obviously not applying to that right now.
Right.
So
YouTube will be very key on there. Putting in the name of their physical therapy, or even finding out who they treat, and then looking up the places that they treat might be
Yeah.
your way to get more information on them.
yeah, I saw their whole list of what they listed a lot of shows, but there were some like specific companies that they worked in. So I was looking at those, and I couldn't. Once I went to their websites, I couldn't really find much about
Yeah, so
PT,
the
but-
website might not have a ton, but then see, does it do the shows in order in which they were performed?
I want to say it is more. It's like right here. It's alphabetical order.
Oh, okay. What I wonder with that is they may be touring shows, and just when they're in town, they treat them.
Yeah, like some of it says like the chorus line, but then it says like Ailey too. I don't know what that is, but then it says like Ballet Met Academy, Ballet Met Columbus, Buckeye Gymnastics. and
Oh,
it goes
Ballet
down.
Met Ohio, Ballet Met.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I went to.
Yeah, I
or like the
trained
la-
there a long time ago as a dancer, not a clinician. They're good. They do some weird stuff, but they were good. I think I had good pizza there. Anyway, yeah, Ballet Met. I wonder who still owns that place.
It said who the director is, but I don't know if that's the same thing.
Wow, I hardly remember Ballet Met. I remember
Edward spelled with 2 A's, Leong.
honestly, like I'm 40 now. The people
Yeah.
that taught me are maybe alive.
Yep, I don't know
You
any
know, like,
really big
honestly.
names. So
The people who were like legends back in the day are like no longer with us. It's just crazy aging. But yeah, those looking up the shows, even looking up. Oh goodness. If you can find, that's a weird one. That's too asinine. No. I was going to say you can contact somebody who's worked on the tours regularly with any of the shows listed and talk to them about the common injuries they treated. Like I know the PT who did Lion King tour for a period of time, and through him, and honestly, I know a lot of performers from that tour as well, so I'm familiar with the injuries. But like, I was thinking maybe that could be a thing. But if you can find, then do you have a list of people who work there?
yeah, I went through that. I couldn't find some of them on LinkedIn, but Facebook, they had popped up. I mostly was looking at Tiffany since she's like my contact and in charge of the rotations and stuff. But their website also had like, they have like the dance wellness screens, and they have like education opportunities for dancers, and they don't advertise it, but it's on there. I wouldn't say it's advertising.
I would look up and see if they have any research studies they've published. They might not have, but if they have, that would be a cool thing to
look into.
Yeah, look into. And then finding out the people who work there and see what they may have in common, what they may have different, just get to know that better. See if there's a way to find out what insurance they take in advance. If they're an in-network or out-of-network place, that can be extremely helpful for you before going in. And then, oh man, if you know anyone who has worked there, who's currently working there, had worked there, if you can get a hold of them separately and talk to them about the place to understand their work schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, the best people to talk to are people who are currently or have worked there. You can get a real good, a true inside scoop, because I haven't really interviewed at a place that they're like, oh yeah, we're crap, so to actually know what's going on, it doesn't have to be someone you're friends with. Be like, hey, I'm looking at this place, it looks incredible, would love to talk to you and learn more about how things run. And you can even do all those exact same questions I gave you as like practice, just better
Yeah.
understand and investigate.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good practice for like, I mean, obviously I'm not asking them about like my income as an internship, but like a lot of those will be good to practice just
Yeah.
for like internship purposes. But
There's nothing wrong with, I mean, as long as it's like you trust this person, but it's fine to ask anyone anywhere. You can say, do you feel comfortable sharing what the pay is at this location? Ask. This is your own butt. Like, no, just no. There are extremely reputable places in New York that pay horribly, horribly. I was just so shocked when people went and worked there. I'm like, oh my God, it's terrible. I'd rather work at a place called Fart Physical Therapy than, that treats people well, of course, but like pays me. Like,
yeah.
did not get into this to be poor, for sure. Anyway, you can yeah, those are ways to keep digging if you can't get that in the head person. And then of course, like that head person, if they're on Instagram, like I said, it's just like non-invasive. There's something about it that's just not invasive. When somebody's sharing, it's more like, ooh, somebody shared my thing, that's it. So finding that girl on there can be a thing. um Although it's a little different with clinical rotations. They just make you such little beings during clinical rotations. Anyway, so we did Instagram, we did Facebook, we did LinkedIn, we did, oh, did you guys do we didn't do a basic Google search and just look to see what popped up. So just literally go to Google and then type it in, and then just go like maybe the first 2 or 3 pages, see what popped up. There might be some sort of article or recent performance, and this is of course also a way to find where they are more active. But I see that they have a lot of listings in here. Kid Guru, man, they have themselves some everywhere. Crazy. Oh, okay, it's just a listing. And then for clinics, this could be a way you can see, and learn more about them just by the popularity of what is up front and what comes a little bit later. So, I mean, there's weird ways around creating relationships with these places. Here is one. And you have to always let your imagination soar on this. But I saw that there's this place, the Greene County Messenger. This might be a public paper where people write. You can see that they have written already about this place and saying support local, blah, blah, blah. You could contact and say, hey, I would love to write an article featuring healthy dancers and feature Lanzi, this place. They do very, very well with that, and just, whatever, like whatever you want the thing to be about. And you write this thing. I mean, of course, it's great press for Lanzi. It creates a relationship, that level of giving. It's just a way to create. If you see that they have nothing online at all, whether it's a clinic or like a clinic, say it's a clinic, and you see they have nothing online, right there is negotiating power. If you just took the hour it would take to where you can legally take YouTube videos or anything that they have online and create a slideshow that's all about why they're a great place, and be like, hey, I wanted to do this to help you guys stay open right now. Amazing. That goes 1,000 miles, and you keep doing it. You're not asking for, never ever do it to ask or anything in return. You just do it to give. because there is, of course, that higher purpose of like, we need these dance studios to stay open, or we need these clinics to stay alive in order to treat patients. So, but doing something like that can go such a long way. Create a slideshow, add some free legal music to it that's 30 seconds to a minute long, pictures that you find of them online, and you can just take APTA quotes and put it on top of there so you don't have to think of anything off the cuff, you know. But it could just be like, some people are not sure if physical therapy is essential. We're here to tell you how we can help you during this hard time. Call us at blah, 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 blah. And then just give it to them via YouTube. Like, you could be like, hey, I made this unlisted, but these are already public things. I wanted to try to help you guys out. You know, let me know if this is something that you do want, you know, and I'll, you know, send it to you like a full copy, you know, your way, kind of thing. They'll use it. They will use it. Does that help? I mean, it's a way to just form those relationships even before you come in. And then there's no question. They know what you can do on social media. It's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so that's the idea with research. It's so boring. Oh my gosh, I know. Doing actual, like looking at actual research study, way better. But the research on studios and everything or clinics is a boring process. But I want to do it with you now because it's hard to motivate yourself to do it because it's boring. It's boring. Like literally, I was done 5 minutes in. But it's so valuable to keep looking and digging. We just did these platforms. Like I said, I know we did ignore TikTok. We didn't even go and see and check out Twitter. And like I said before, I ignored TikTok because you can't really stand out and get a lot of information about the studio, because it's really people just copying other choreography right now. I don't really see anything like original. And you can get that information from YouTube at this point if you want to see the dancers they treat, the shows. If you don't know the show that they're currently treating, YouTube it. You'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Oklahoma. It's a country musical. They were in these long skirts and doing cartwheels. Got it. You know, whatever, you know, whatever you're finding as those recent things, sometimes they're just not present. But that, like I said, that is negotiating power. Keep digging. They don't have that. Do they have this? They don't have that. Do they have this? Any of that stuff is super helpful. And you can even call, like people call these health places all the time. You could be like, hey, you know, I'm considering being a patient there. Do you have a list of insurances you take that you could share with me? You know, like, and if they don't have a list, then you can just say, do you take workers' comp? Do you take Medicare? You know, like, you could just ask and make up a reason. Who cares? Just be like, oh yeah, my grandparent might want to come to you guys too. Like who cares? If you don't need to explain, you can just ask. But if they do ask for an explanation, to make up something. But that's a way you can get some information in advance to better understand that whole reimbursement that you will likely have on the table. There are so many times when I've gone into these negotiations and the first thing they talk about is how little they're going to be able to pay. It's like their go-to. Maybe it's a new grad thing, I don't know, but I mean, well, yes, that is a new grad thing. Let's stop on that. That is, that people are going to be aiming to pay you less. It doesn't mean that you have to work there. It's going to be, at this rate, for anybody who is graduating right now, it is not a good time to graduate into a job market. We all know this, but that is why negotiating power is so huge. That's why this research is so huge. Even though it's not entertaining, put on Dirty Dancing or Rush Hour 2, because I think it's the only one that's available right now on Netflix. You know, put on one of those things and do that research. That's my husband.
Hello.
Any kid? Anyway, doing just like, hey, doing that research really just goes such a long way. I want to talk to you guys a little bit more just to finish off about money. And we just need to be able to say it like naturally, just good. Okay, so and Joe and Katie, since I work for myself, I just want to check in. 80,000 is average pay, right? Though people are still trying to pay less than that in New York.
Yeah, they pay less for that. And it depends also on your setting, because I'm in
And the
pediatrics,
state.
which pays PT less also.
Oh yeah, pediatrics does pay a lot less. That's very true. What were we saying, Joe?
No, I was saying that New York is a different market altogether, so I can't really speak for other markets. But I've known it's kind of weird because I share office space with a larger PT group. Well, they're not really large, but they got like 6 PTs, and one of them was saying to me, "Yeah, I got to get more money." So I says, "If you don't mind me asking, what do you make?" And she goes, "Well, they started me off at 72, but they started off John at 80, and John was a new grad, and she was there a year before him." So I was like, "Well, that's kind of weird." Turns out that John, who's 32, not exactly a kid, but he was very aggressive. He was very well prepared in his negotiating skills. So my point is that, you know, it's going to happen. You're going to have variability, and you can't make it kill you. But if you're aggressive, you can get that extra, nugget. I'm telling you, it's out there, even if it's $5,000. Because I said, "Wow, John really did that." She said, "Yeah, he's getting 8 more." So when she went back to the owner and said, "So, I might be leaving," and the owner apparently said in so many words, "Well, why? What's up?" "Well, with all due respect, why are you paying John 80 and me P72, and I have a year and a half more experience than him?"
She
Well,
already made so many mistakes here. She made so
No,
many
no,
mistakes.
wait, hold on. No problem. I'll pay you the 80.
Okay, that's good. That's
You know,
good.
there's no
That's
protocol.
good. But I'm just saying,
Wild
she
West.
was bringing in emotion, like to that, taking it personally, like I was saying, like that could have gone very, very sour. Like
All right, so
I'm glad
basically-
that worked out for her, but that was like, ooh,
so
like,
just on.
oh, he cut out. But you guys get where I was like going, oh, you're back. Go for it.
Okay, sorry. Just understand that I'm relaying this to you secondhand. So the tone, the mood, everything might have been different. I'm just giving you the bullets.
Oh, gotcha.
But see,
Gotcha.
but
It's the
but
Joe
I
bullets.
understand what you're, but you brought up a good point. Don't go in there with emotion, because you're going to lose most of the time.
Yeah. And then you have to think like, want, need too.
Yes, like
So
one
they
would
could
be-
be like, I know you like that money, but like, why? But it worked out. It was great. But her negotiating power was that she's been there and they didn't want her to leave. So
Yeah, but the thing is that, I hate to say this, but a lot of owners really don't know what they're doing. I mean, it's the Wild West. That's why that's one of the reasons why I went on my own, because, how is it you're paying this guy this, that guy that? The only thing I learned is that the big places like Professional, of, everybody at the, new grad, they all got 70 or 68. That was it. I can't pay you 72 if I pay Jenna 68 and Katie 68. It's not fair. So they were, the bigger places you may see,
yeah, they do like a set thing.
more consistency. But the little places, it's the Wild West.
And my last clinic was a private practice, but they were very against us ever talking about our salaries. We weren't allowed to talk about it with other PTs. Like, it was just a forbidden topic because they didn't want us to know.
I break those rules 110%. That is literally what has promoted women to get paid less. So no, I will never ever play that game. I'll smile and act and be like, okay, and then I'll be like, all right, who am I talking to first? Because then people, it's them protecting themselves. It's not for you. It's not for you. It's not for your betterment, for your happiness. That stuff leads to you to very potentially being unhappy, burnt out, all those things. They're AKA the product not being good.
Has any owner ever told you, when you were pushing the envelope, well, what do you bring? What do you bring to the table?
Oh, they already know at that point.
Yeah.
They're good. Yeah, that's a whole conversation and questions and things that happened before. I've already seen what they are or are not doing on social media. They a lot of times have already seen me and looked me up, and they're like, "Oh wow, this girl does a lot," on social media, which leaves them impressed.
But do you think social media is a bargaining chip for, employment. So if I were to become a new grad, hypothetically speaking now,
Social
with
media, video,
right,
production, emails.
right. So
There's
with my
really a whole
minimal,
course that's been created to help with that kind of thing.
right, but with my minimal media,
Yeah.
and I would be like, I'd be dead.
But could you partner with somebody? Could you say, hey, I've got this wealth of expertise. Maybe I could partner with somebody else at the company that knows the tech part of it.
Well,
to
his
bring
approach,
that.
he could play with different ways with like bringing in new patients or helping out with if they don't have a set thing with billing and if he understands that more. There's so many ways that you can bring value. I'm doing the social media because it's an easy one to just lay back on as an option, but it's not just the one way. Say it's a place where they want to have more research there. They've been dying to build a whole research thing. It's like, hey, I know how to do all that. Like I would love to. It just.
But let me ask you this: if let's say you have 20,000 followers or 60,000 followers on your Instagram, and you're producing content, and it's nice and all, you become part of this company. Who's to say they can't say to you, "Well, you can't. You have to stop promoting yourself. You have to promote yourself under our banner."
You can already say no to that when you come in. That's part of the negotiations for sure. And I get them trying to, like, I've definitely, bye Jeff. I get that. It's amazing that he came out. Honestly, he's in finals week right now. I was truly shocked that he came. That was amazing. Jeff, shout out to you. Okay. But what was your question? I totally forgot.
No, I was saying that let's say, you have a particular brand and you're like, I got a friend of mine who pushes blood flow restriction therapy.
Yeah.
And he's got like 60,000 followers, whatever. It's just, he's got so much content. I often wonder if he's ever actually working. And let's say he was, yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
I went to
yeah,
school with him. He was a year ahead of me.
yeah. But what I'm saying to you is that, it's like, well, let's say he was to go work for somebody and he has his own little brand he built up, right? Who's to say like, well, they'll say to you, well, hey, you got to stop promoting yourself. You got to promote yourself under our banner. If you say no, then, they're going to be like, well, what do we need this guy for?
You think that, but you can say no. I still have that is something that I have as a separate entity, but people will know that I work for you right now. That's it.
I mean, my attitude is this.
But I'm not gonna like. But I mean, he wouldn't be asking questions. That's the thing for Nick or for me. My goal isn't to be an owner at a place. I won't be as invested if I go as like the person who wants to possibly own one day. I will be definitely have like 3/4 of my body outside the door because
Right.
that's not my thing. I'll treat the patients, but even if it's dancers there, I'll treat there, but it's not necessarily going to be on my terms fully.
Sure.
I'm probably going to do some, flexible things for that company to work hours I very possibly don't want to work. So he's not the best example because he is already an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
like,
Well, my point is that if you are, let's say, really successful in social media and you're driving a lot of business from it, that should be the catalyst for you to say, hey, I could actually do this maybe part-time, slowly on my own, work for somebody else and build it on the side. That's how I did. You chip away, whittle away. Because if you're successful getting clients, patients from social media, then that should be your motivation to build your own little entrepreneurial business.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, why give it
the
a
whole-
unless you just don't want to work on your own, you're too scared, blah, blah, blah. Fine, that's fine. But I mean, if you're getting it that way and people are calling you and you have a good Google ranking, I mean, you got to run with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to get followers, but then to get followers who are going to invest you, it's a process. Like for instance, TikTok, there are people who have following, but I feel like there's a lot of people with just so many followers and that's it, like they just have a ton of followers. I have not seen yet. I've not seen that become some sort of financial gain. I know on Instagram, there are people who are getting financial gain. I have a friend who's whatever influencer, and
Yeah.
she's beautiful musical theater performer. Like, and she models clothes and has like, oh, she does so well. And so she's an influencer with the pictures and everything that she posts. Eric Kavanaugh, my brother-in-law, who I love to brag about. You guys know him. He's an overweight dancer. He's known, very famous for that, being an overweight dancer. He's like kicks the back of his head. He's been in commercials, all that stuff, and he gets paid for every video he posts. With music, he gets paid a very good amount, and he's gotten to that because he just has so many followers. So it just depends. There are some people, way you can do it, Joe, if you go to a clinic and say you did have that following of some kind, is you can film yourself and have like take advantage of the space of where you are working and have even their logo in the background. If you don't care, it's still you have that space, and they get that little benefit of like, oh look, it's people are seeing our name in the background, like yay, kind of thing, even though it's still on your platform. So there are ways to make it work where two people win. I know somebody who, a physical therapist who treats CrossFit patients, and she films herself working out with the logo in the background of at the gym she worked, and they let her, and she has that logo in. It's awesome. Otherwise it costs money to like get this space, all those things. So it's pretty cool. It's and we're just talking about the social media thing. In regards to social media, I haven't jumped in on that at all in this course. There's going to be a module added for the Dance PT program 2.0. You guys will have access to it, and it's starting to go into not full out social media, but just some more business stuff, because that's what you guys need at this point. Because even for you, Stephanie or Angie, who's pooping, oh, that's a cute painting. The job market, like I said, is just not what it was. And you might have to think, or very likely have to think more like an entrepreneur than you would need to be, because I don't know what the job market's going to be. And what I'm adding to don't hate me, but there's something I'm adding to the 2.0 group is every person is getting an online wellness program that they finish with to sell, because we need things like that now on our belt. So say you can't get the job, you have something that you can promote and be like, there you go, kind of thing. But I don't know, maybe I'll try to work out something for you guys if you would want to further. I didn't even think about that until now. What was I going to say? What's her face? Oh my God, that's like the worst. Alexis, who was here. Do you guys remember Alexis? Remember Alexis last week? She has this really, really good course that it's not the same as mine. It goes into other multiple dance forms. From this, you're a dance PT. You can treat dancers from this, absolutely no doubt. She has this experience of more than 10 years, which is. And so she has a way of thinking that's a lot faster and helps speed you. I took her course. Okay. That's all I'm saying. Like, she's good. So if you wanted to keep furthering your knowledge and better sell yourself as a dance physical therapist, she is a great way to go. But that being said, I'm grateful that I have brought in this negotiations, the sales, the insurance to you guys even more so. I always knew it was important, but with this like crazy thing that happened after this was going, I'm just more grateful. I can't emphasize enough how much you need this, and how good it is that you've taken this. Beyond just the dance PT skills, I think just you as practitioners and planting your feet down and being like I got this, and going with that. I think it's just so important right now. Angie, Steph, when do you guys graduate?
2021.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Except they told
Good.
us that.
Okay, I'm glad you have. I'm grateful, honestly. And
now.
if there is by chance any delay, whoa, my lips are gone. Anyway, if there's any delay in you guys graduating, look at it as meant to be, because of the clinicals not being available. I don't know what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, because there's all these people with delayed clinicals right now, and that's feeding into the year, and so and we don't know what clinics are going to be open. There's all these things. If they somehow change their requirements, I will take a student, but I definitely don't treat enough patients. I'm also moving, so I technically soon will have be starting all over again.
I think they did change some of the requirements.
Mhm.
Like
Like the
I think
week.
like class of 2020 has, I think like maybe 24, 25 clinical hours now.
Oh, they can
It's a
do
lot
less clinical hours. They had to. I was
Yeah,
thinking that. I was going, they're going to have to reduce it because
Yeah.
otherwise it's
Mhm.
going to
And
delay.
even for us, they reduced it too. I think it's like from 36 to 32 or something like that.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds
something
so
like that.
simple, but it's so needed. I'm really glad.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to hear that. That's a big deal.
I feel bad for the class graduating this year.
Yeah, they're
Rough.
graduating to a rough thing. I'm trying to help out with that.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Mhm.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, our chair, we have like a meeting with her every Friday, like as a class, and she was like, "Yeah, y'all's class keeps me up at night," because basically it's like some people will have clinical rotations and some won't, so they kind of have to decide as a school, like, will they let it be like all or nothing kind of situation, or let those people that still have their clinical rotations go or not? Which, like, I understand. I just don't know which one's better. I mean, like, to me, I'm like, I don't want to be a clinical, my classmates can't, but then at the same time, like, I don't want to lose my opportunity. It's a terrible situation.
Yeah.
I get that.
So,
I definitely.
and we have nothing to replace it with. Like, after summer, it's just clinical. So it's like, well, I guess I'll get a job and start paying off loans. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where it's just the fact that you have these skills now, everything from workshop, you have that paperwork. You guys, seriously, copy that, put that in your Google Docs now. That paperwork, that is going to open up doors for you. I'm even using it. I was like, her system was way better than mine. I knocked on the door like it was the 80s and 90s and saying, "Hey, I want to give a thing." And she said, "Okay." Like, it was way old school. So hers is much more like a great order and so good. But with that alone, so it's huge. And you guys are not in New York, right?
I am.
You are in New York. Are you going to stay in New York, Angie?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. What about you, Stephanie? What state are you in?
I'll probably stay in Texas. Well, I don't know. Actually, I have no idea.
I just asked because I know in New York, it's okay.
Are we talking about clinical rotations or like
No, I'm
jobs?
talking about
and
jobs.
after?
I'm talking about jobs.
Oh,
I truly am concerned about jobs for a bit for people.
yeah, it kind of depends on direct access.
So I'm just going to go into a little bit of information that's way big. Going to make you go for a second. So in order to run your own practice, you need to get this thing called a PLLC or an LLC. Just fancy words, okay? Or acronyms. Doesn't matter what they stand for. So PLLC normally is not required. In New York, it's specifically required. There's one other state, I think it's California. It costs more and is a bigger pain in the ass to get a PLLC. It's the law here in New York. In other states, it's just LLC, and it's simple as heck to do. But because of the whole thing in New York, it does cost more money. There's all this legal stuff that you have to do. I ended up paying a lawyer to take care of it, which was my biggest investment with my practice. But if you are not in New York, because getting an LLC is so easy. In other states, I would definitely look into that as just a little graduation present investment, or request from your parents. So if you are having trouble in any manner with getting work, or you're not happy, you already have that ready to go for you to just start working on your own.
Definitely consult with your CPA for the best tax position it'll put you in, because every state's different.
CPA accountant. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that
so
was really-
basically anybody who recently graduated who's an accountant, just talk to them.
Yeah, because attorneys, I thought you just go right to an attorney and they're not as helpful. And my CPA really made a big difference in my tax, bracket. in terms of setting up the corporation.
That's wonderful. I love that.
Mhm.
I was lucky. My attorney has a lot of experience specifically with physical therapists becoming PLLC in New York. And that's how I was connected with her. So she just really knew the whole process. She actually is now involved with Fairy Tale Physical Therapy too. She's great. But yeah, she was just, I really got like through the lineage of a lot of physical therapists. I think, yeah, just like big people. I was like, yes, that will be the lawyer. But I mean, that was high. That was high. It was like $3,000 me paying. But it's like, it's a lot less for LLC, less than 1,000 for sure. But worth it.
Yeah,
It's a way to ensure that you can work for yourself.
yeah.
I paid
Yeah.
$1,300, and you could use up to 25 different DBAs. So you could be, let's say Jenna Cantor PLLC doing business as the dance therapist, or New York
DBA stands
Dance.
for doing business
Yeah.
as. You can have several different names depending on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to be called, I forget what my name, I want to call Powerful Performer. That's what I wanted for my physical therapy practice. But,
Why can't you?
huh?
Doesn't somebody have that one?
I don't know, probably.
Sounds familiar.
There's tons of places called Essential Physical Therapy, I learned today.
Oh, Jesus.
I was creating a campaign. Anyway, but yeah, so I just want to put that out there, not to like make you go right now, don't worry about it right now, but just so you're just aware.
And that's,
Because I
if
don't
you
know if
get
people said
that,
this, they're just
that's
options.
valid the whole time.
Huh?
Do you have to like re-up it at all?
No,
Okay.
not for that. There are other things that come up. What is it? I mean, you can always message me if you're ever going, and I'll be like, all right, here's what you need. There's liability insurance, and then there's no one else paying for your health insurance. So you need to make sure you get that for yourself.
Mm.
Mhm.
But when you're a new practitioner and you're just starting off, you do not need web PT or any of that fancy stuff. You can do the old school pen and paper and be following HIPAA, no problem. And until you get enough patients, then you can do that move. But it costs so much money for those programs. And if you don't need it, avoid it. Don't use that. Don't spend it.
And make your own website.
Oh, there's so many free ways to do that. That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of weird because like maybe it's because I've been in Texas my whole life and I've only followed kind of like Texas and direct access and everything, but like I know like some of my professors, they own their own clinics and stuff, but I don't think any of them work like how y'all work, where you're just your individual self, because of direct access stuff and how we like kind of just got that 10-day direct access. So like that's kind of like a new concept for me that I discovered honestly with this thing. Like I didn't think that you could just be like a solid person and do PT. Like I don't think anyone in Texas does that. And maybe they do now, but you can only treat someone for 10 days and then you have to get insurance involved. So.
Oh, you mean like out of network? Oh no, I know people who live. Yeah, I know people who live in Texas. I think who are out of network cash PTs.
Yeah, I
so
just
they
never
do
think of
exist.
them like. Yeah, I know there's cash PTs, but they're like still at a clinic and stuff. I haven't heard of one person that's like, this is me and I'm going to like kind of do whatever I want, I guess, if that makes
Oh.
sense. Like they still have PTs and PTAs.
I'm sure I know people who live in Texas and are like that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there are. I just had never like.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't.
You're like, they exist?
Yeah, I was like, huh. I don't know if
that
I
either,
could
to
do
be
that.
honest.
Huh?
I didn't know that either. I mean, I know about direct
okay.
access, and I know like, they can come into the clinic, but I didn't know it was possible for PTs to kind of just go and be like, oh yeah, I'll treat you, or you know what I mean, by word of
Yeah,
mouth.
It's
you
probably
can
because
do all that same HIPAA paperwork, and that HIPAA paperwork could be in your Google Suite, and make that HIPAA compliant and send it that way. And it can be a Google form that they fill out, boom, 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 go straight into an Excel spreadsheet. Like there are ways to have systems that really cost you little money. I think it's like less than $10 a month for Google Suite. It's great. It's so great.
I think it's because like when I was always trying to get like observation hours and stuff, like I never think to Google like an individual person. Like it was always either hospitals or an outpatient clinic. And
Well, most
so I
people
just
like me,
wasn't
we're
around
not
that.
treating for the amount of hours that are required for
That's true.
you in your clinical, and I don't want to ever do that much.
That's true.
My goal is to revamp when I get into this. Like it's so different right now. Everything's just slower. You know, I have a couple patients a week, a few, you know, on telehealth, but my goal there, I'd never want to have more than 10 visits a week. I give an hour per visit. I might actually reduce it to a half hour. I don't want more than that. I've always said, if I get bigger, I will hire someone right away and they will take it. That's it. I don't want to do it. Because I have other things that I want to do, you know, perform, go, you know, anyway, oh man, I'm going to stop recording. Oh my God, you guys catching the replay. Love ya.